Moving forward, we have another speaker joined us today. Her name is Lakshmi Teja. Today she'll be speaking about demystifying SBOMs, a deep dive into software bill of materials for FOSS management. She is a senior open source consultant for source code control. With over 7 years of experience in FOSS domain, Lakshmi specializes in managing and ensuring compliance with various FOSS licenses. She has successfully collaborated and with development teams to integrate FOSS components with adhering to licenses terms. She has conducted numerous training sessions to educate teams on significance of FOSS in the software supply chain. Give it a huge round of applause for Lakshmi and all the best for your talk. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Lakshmi Teja here. I hope you all had a good lunch and thank you for joining us today. Let me introduce me about myself. As I'm working with source code control as a senior OSS consultant, I have 8 years of experience in the IT industry. Most of my experience is with the open source compliance audit activities. Along with this, before source code control, I was working with Bosch and Siemens as well. Today I'll be discussing about software bill of materials. I think most of us have already heard about the word software bill of materials or SBOMs in our daily activities, who is actively working with open source software or in the development phases, or to be more precise, software supply chain environments. These are literally very hot right now. Let's understand what are the important, why is it has become that important, what are the benefits of it, what are the different types of SBOM formats we have right now in the market, and what are the regulations that certain companies or certain governments have been introduced, and what are the future prospects of them. When we say anything about a product or anything, we always look out for the origin of it, how it has started, what are the major activities that has happened around any of the products, let's say. At this point of time, when we are speaking about the SBOMs, we always want to understand what has happened actually and why it has took a major turn in the supply chain environment. To begin with, let's start the history. In 1980s to 1990s, a bill of materials was actually originated in the manufacturing industry, which was to develop the products. They used to have a set of documentation which speaks about the components, what equipment they need to use at what given point of the time, what was the size of the screw, what of the size of the other pulleys or something like that. That was the complete bill of materials. Later part, in the 2010s, when an open source community was formed who were actively working on open source development activities, they understood that they need a software bill of materials to see what are the components inside the software that we have been developing. So that's how SPDX was originated. SPDX was mainly introduced to provide a documentation about the software component with the main of its parameters like its component name, version, licenses, copyright, security references, etc. Then again in 2015, NIST has introduced its Swift tax standards from ISO 19770-2. In 2020, ISO standards open source license compliance, and that's ISO IEC 5230-2020 was originated, and it was specially for the open source license compliances. The 2021 was a major turn where traction for software bill of materials has been gained. What has happened in 2021? The first or the major thing what everyone has observed is that Biden's government has introduced an executive order 14028, which was mainly to improve the nation's cyber security. Later part SPDX format, which was already in the IT industry, it has been recognized as a standard from the ISOs, and it has been published as ISO 5230-2021. Later part, the first draft of SLSA has been framed. The Google has drafted SLSA framework and introduced it in 2021. Later part in 2022, uh, Department of Defense has started collaborated with federal agencies from the US government to establish strong security measures in terms of software security when the software is being supplied to the especially US government. What are the standards that any supplier has to follow? Now, in the recent years, 2024, there were major two things happened. That's with SPDS latest version 3 was launched, and also the Cyclone DX version 1.6. Those are the history. When we see about the history, we have seen about so many regulations about SPDX formats, everything. Later part, when history has completed, now we have it is like everywhere SBOMs are. There have been certain benefits why it has been so popular and why everyone is started using it. Out of it, the first benefit or one of the benefits we could say is the compliance part. In the compliance, SBOMs help organizations to follow the regulatory compliances and license compliances. When we say about the regulatory compliances, it is like now certain governments have released their standards. Whenever you are supplying a software, they have to send a software bill of materials as well along with it. So to maintain those standards, these compliances will be one of the benefits in the SBOMs. The other one is in transparency. How is transparency a benefit in SBOM? Whenever you are sharing a bill of materials while you are supplying it to your clients or customer, you provide complete list of complete list of components. It will have the component name, license, versions, vulnerability, CPIDs, Perl, all the other tags. So what does that? Whenever I see the document, I see that okay, these are the components that this team is using to develop this software. It's kind of transparency to the clients. When you give maximum transparency into your software, it is always that it ultimately gives you the trust from the client, saying maintaining the software integrity. Then next comes enhanced security. How is SBOM involved with the security is that when you have components in hand, when you see there's a certain component has a vulnerability, you don't have to go back, see n number of places whether I have this component, whether I have this version or not. You just have to go to the documents, see the bill of materials and say, okay, I have this component, I have this version and it has vulnerability. So I can directly go fix that issues. It's kind of enhancing the security of the components, incident report, report, response, etc. Improved software quality. When you have SBOM which is regulated, when you have a transparency of the components, what is there in your software, and when you have enhanced security components, all this together will by default improve the software quality. Break down supply chain complexity. It's one of the benefits. You can have it in this way that you have the software components in different stages of the software development. When you have the SBOM in place, you will see that okay, this component is used at this stage of point and another set of components are being used at this point of stage. So you'll have a clear understanding of what's happening at what given point of time. Cost efficiency. However, cost efficiency major benefit of SBOMs is like, assume we are in a situation where we have developed a very good software and have been deployed to the customers, and we have given them the SBOMs as well, and sometimes we might have not given them the SBOM. Now there was suddenly one of the person has come back and said that, hey, you have using my component which has this license and it has certain obligations and you are not fulfilling these obligations. Now I am going to sue you, or I have some restrictions on this component and you cannot use it. The client definitely comes back to the vendor who has supplied that software to them and asks them, how can you do that? Why did not you check it at the given before when you are deploying it to that? When issue comes up after it's been deployed, that's when the major now all the development teams has to sit where the cost efficiency, not just in the monetary benefits but also the time of the development teams, and if the legal teams are involved, then altogether a different picture arises. So having SBOMs in place will provide a different benefits, these are few of those benefits. I would like to show a brief analog of what exactly if you don't have a software bill of material. This is one common story where most of us know 6 blind people and elephants and an elephant, where they are completely blind and they cannot see the elephant. Each one of them is assuming each one as their own. Few of them is thinking the trunk as spear, few of them is thinking leg as a tree, etc. When you have a SBOM in place, that's how we can see it. We can clearly know whether it's an open source component. When we see a standard, we see whether it's a copyright or not. Okay, this is a license, it's a vulnerability, etc. That's how software bill of materials will phase the software in the supply chain. Now we have seen certain benefits, certain the history of the software bill of materials and the benefits. Now we'll see how SBOM is at different, how is it at the software development life cycle. When it is generated at the design phases, even before the development starts, development teams or the teams associated with that particular product development will understand what, will have a clear picture of approved and not approved components, and they can go ahead and think of whether they need to license and acquire certain components if needed. Source, or we can source phase, or we can say it as a development phase. When a SBOM is generated at a development phase, you will have access to all the components, which when you have an access to all the components, you will be able to see the licenses of those components and the vulnerabilities and also the dependency tree structure. When you know the issues at the early stages, you will have enough time to fix them or find an alternatives to overcome these kind of solutions. And during the build phase, it's when application is ready to release, that's when we start developing, we start building our release artifacts, right? When we generate SBOMs during that time, not just the source source SBOMs, we also get more information on what are the build environment that we are using, what are the other external libraries that being contributed while a release artifact is being generated. When a SBOM is generated at the build time, you can also, that increases trust by enabling signing of the BOMs and product artifacts. Analyzed state, it is mainly for those kind of components, those kind of artifacts or softwares which doesn't have a active development environment right now. It's more like say legacy firmwares. Deployed. Deployed is like almost in the production environments, or we can say at any given point of the deployments. At that point of time, we see we get the deployment environment details as well along with the software application. But here is that you have to be very sure that what deployment stage you want to generate the bill of materials. If you try to do it in test environment along with the actual source, we might use it, we might get the test environment details as well, which might not be part of the final deliveries. Runtime. Runtime provides visibility, understand it, when the system is running, what are the external libraries that's being used while the runtime. It's mostly the post deployment times. So these are the SBOMs at different SDLC phases. We have seen so far what is SBOMs, what are the benefits, what are the when can be used at different SDLC life cycles, and what can happen at each point of step. When we say SBOMs, we also heard about a term called SPDX when we are speaking about the history. There are certain formats when every organization or any bill of materials should be followed when you are distributing it. Among them, the one most popular one is SPDX format. It has been originated in 2010. Later part, it has become a very easy accessible and easy understandable format for most of the organizations to use. What exactly it has is, it's very simple to read. It's mostly in JSON and Excel formats, and you can get a complete details of the components, license versions, security vulnerabilities, the dependency hierarchy, everything. Along with this, one additional feature of SPDX is it has been certified by ISO 5230 to 2020, and it has been published as ISO 5230 2021. And the other SBOM formats is Cyclone DX format. It has been developed by the OWASP community. The traction around Cyclone DX has started in 2021 when US cybersecurity teams has agreed that this is also can be considered as a standard format. What exactly Cyclone DX formats produces? They give the same inputs along with the SPDX, and they concentrate more on vulnerabilities, security related activities. And another one is SWIT, software identification tags. These are mostly used in software asset management environments, where it gives a unique identification ID to those softwares, and using those IDs you will be able to understand when to update the licenses, what are the patches, how many users are using those particular component, whether it is licensed properly or not. And the another one is the custom documentation. It's more of organization specific, and there are certain SCA tools which generate all this SPDX and Cyclone DX along with the custom documents. So it is all the organization what they want it in that particular document. So those are the SBOM formats. When we see SBOM formats, there are also different type of SBOMs which caters certain services for certain environments. The very first one is software bill of materials, which is a commonly known SBOM, which has all the details which we have discussed so far. Another one is software as a service bill of materials. It is mainly for cloud native applications where it provides a complete details of endpoints, data flows, offerings a logical representation of what's inside the application. Hardware bill of materials, it is mainly for the embedded systems like IoT, ICS devices, where it along with the hardware details, it also provides the software bill of materials so that you can get a clear picture of what's happening within the embedded software at one place. Again, machine learning bill of materials, right now wherever we see it's all about AI and ML. This is a new format, all the type of SBOMs that we are currently speaking or has been established by Cyclone DX, OWASP communities. What exactly ML BOMs speak about is what are the data the sets that have been inputted, what are the inputs that is been training about all those details. Cryptographic bill of materials, this one is especially for cryptographic applications where it provides complete details about if there are any weak algorithms, all those weak algorithms, all those kind of issues, if it is observed, it provides you the details so that the security is transparent and we don't have to worry about, we will not be able to develop quantum safe systems in case if we find any kind of issues. Operational bill of materials offers a full stack environment of runtime environments, including configurations to enhance operational transparencies. Manufacturing bill of materials documents the formulation and manufacturing processes, not just the software components, it also provides the processes how to build the product and how to manage the packaging of those particular product, so that when we are ready to deploy it into the production environment or when we want to create the complete build setup of the product somewhere else, these documents will help us so that we will get minimum errors and have a quality product out of it. These are the comparative analysis. On a daily basis, we work with certain SCA tools and certain tools where we do analysis on different code bases, and we did on one code base on 3 different tools, and these are the certain parameters we have used. And first, out of these 3 tools, 2 are the commercial tools and 1 is an open source tool. File scanned are 1180 and the results are accordingly as we have seen. These are the set of components identified here. The false positives, license identified, vulnerabilities identified and copyrights are captured. Just by seeing this, we can never say that the tool 1 is good and the other tools are not good or vice versa. It always depends on what exactly you are looking out of that software bill of materials. When we speak about SBOM formats, there is always some governing bodies who will be looking out for whether the supply chain is following certain regulations or not. Among them, one of the major, or we could say Bible, is EU Cyber Resilience Act 2023, which in simple words what they say is that whenever you are shipping some software into the EU environment, you have to give maximum transparency, you have to develop the software with lesser security vulnerabilities and high quality softwares which is highly secured. So to have that kind of list, we anyways need the software bill of materials which will give you a complete understanding of what's happening inside an application. The White House, Washington, they have done an OS3A where they mostly speak about whenever a software is being supplied to any of the federal agencies or any of the US government agencies, along with the software you have to supply the software bill of materials. MeitY, this is an Indian government governing bodies which we have recently observed that they are encouraging to use open source softwares inside inside the development of government websites and all those things. Right now they have not specially mentioned anything like you need SBOMs in place, but in the future times maybe when open source components or any of these kinds come into the place, it is always that they need to know what's inside this. So that might be one of the future prospects that can happen. These are certain industry standards, ISO 5230:2020 open chain compliances, which mainly speaks about, it's about organizations getting certified on this. When an organization is certified with the 2020 certification, it means that they are completely following all the open source standards, like having SBOMs in place, having audit teams in place, contributions are going to and fro, all those details. This is mainly about the license compliances explicitly, and the other one is 18974, which explicitly speaks about the security vulnerabilities and security vulnerabilities. The other one is 5962:2024. 2021, it's an again ISO has published SPDX as an international standards, and every organization can use SPDX formats. Whatever we have seen right now, it's not like SBOM is the end of the software supply chain, and it has given us complete details. What are we seeing in the future prospects of SBOM is that widespread across industries. There was a recent survey has happened that all the organizations who are developing a highly infrastructured code will start mandating SBOMs, and it is around 60%. And it's happening that SBOM, the tools which are generating SBOMs are already integrated into CI/CD pipelines in the development processes. And then other one is enhanced interoperability and standardizations, emerging factors for strategic operations, greater integration into AML. This is one thing which every one of us are looking at. There are recent talks going on, like what's exactly an open source AI definition meant, how should it be taken care, what are the parameters, how a document should be there. That's one of the major aspects that we'll be looking out for in the terms of SBOMs. Right now we have seen SBOMs has started with the manufacturing domain, later but it has taken a major turn into the software domain. Now software is considering BOMs as one of the main documentation while it's distributing. So there might be a chance that SBOMs will be spread into the new domains as well, and it gives maximum capabilities and flexibilities for those domains to make it even more secure and all those things. So these are the major aspects that we are understanding about the SBOMs, and that's what happening in and around the world right now. I literally want to say thanks to Prashant. He is the one who has helped me completely along with this. Thank you for that. And do follow us in case if you want to understand more about SBOMs or you need any kind of see what kind of SBOMs you wanted or any other details.